In this video, we're going to be talking about something I've called a work experience catalog. So an aid memoir that helps you catalog all the things you've done as part of your work, and that would help you for interviews, and it just gives you an idea of the experiences that you've forgotten, especially those things that you did as part of your work that were not part of your job descriptions. Those things, we don't always remember them when we've left the job or months after we've done them. So I'm going to take you through that, and I'm going to have the spreadsheet downloadable for anyone who wants it for free, or you can make your own. It's a really basic spreadsheet. There's nothing nothing complex in it at all, so stay tuned. So let's talk about CVs. First of all, let's talk about CVs. Everyone knows what a CV is, and nowadays people pay experts to write their CVs. You know, I mean, some CVs after they're written, you look at it and you go, oh gosh, is this me? So yeah, there's all of that, but I believe that the CV is something that's what it is. It tells someone else about you. It tells someone else about where you've been and your experiences. But I don't know how much value my CV adds to myself, for example, like any actual value, because I can tell where I was, and there's so much you can write on a CV. So the longer you've been at work, you'd find that it starts to get long and too long, and we're always told, you know, keep it short, keep it to 3 pages and all of that. But that's fine, you know, whatever number of pages work. There are different advices. I think it depends on your level as well. So you get to a level in your career where your CV has to be long. Well, it will be long because you've been up to a lot, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your own CV, and I've coined mine as my work experience catalog. You can call it whatever you will, it's fine. So before I take you through the template itself and tell you how I've come about writing mine up, and what I would say first of all is keep this document updated. So whether you use this or you have another one that you use, keep it updated. The reason I say that is we forget what we've been up to. So it might not be part of your usual job description, but you might be pulled into a project, or you solved one problem, or you did something else. You had some issues with a person that was resolved and all of that. We do forget those things because those are not your day-to-day business as usual. Those are not what you do, so you do forget that. So keep it updated regularly. Don't wait until you need to apply for work to think, oh gosh, what did I do in that place? Oh, what did I do? And you start calling up colleagues, what did we do? No, so keep this updated. It helps you very much in interviews. So you've got this, it's updated. What I do with it is that's what I use, and before any interviews I revise it. It's there, I know what's there. So look at it before an interview. So instead of reading through your CV, just have a quick, if you think about it, behavioral interview questions are really, you know, tell me a time when you did this, a time when you did that. I think it's overused now. I think it should be changed, but it's still what it is for now, until such a time as hiring managers start to get more creative. Behavioral interview questions are still it's still in vogue. You've got the list, and anyone can pick, you know, 4 questions, 5 questions out of a list of 50, and that's what they all do. It's a copy and paste, right? And this helps you for that. So, and I'll take you through in detail how we can use this template to our advantage. But for now, just revise it before your interview. Take it in with you. I don't think there's anything wrong. I know people say whether to take a CV or not. So very early on in my career, I used to just go cold, you know, nothing. But now I take my CV. I take what I want to take with me. I might not refer to it, but I've got it there. You know, I do it now, and I think there's nothing stopping you. You're not in an examination where you're trying to cheat or anything. It's what you've done, and if you need something as an aid memoir or something to read on the way, let's say you're going by public transport, you know, you've got it there and you can have a quick glance. So I think this is a better one to take with you than you take the CV obviously, but for your own revision, your personal revision, I think this is a better one to use. And if your interview is if it's not a face-to-face, if you're interviewing online, then you can pin it on the wall. Pin it on the wall behind your computer. The interviewer won't see. But again, it's an aid memoir. It's there. You know, if the questions are getting too much, I'm not lying. It's the things I've done. I don't think an interview is about testing your memory of how much you can remember in how many seconds. It's, you trying to show the best version of yourself there is. So if you're interviewing online, by all means, put it up somewhere where you can see it if you do need to. Likelihood is you won't need to look at it because you've already looked at it before the interview, but if you do need to, it's right there in front of you. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Okay, so now I'm going to go through all the columns in the spreadsheet, and I'm going to talk you through what I've done and why I think why I do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to start from column D, which is the problem. Okay, so if you look at the first row I have there, so we've got the headings, we've got the problem, process, situation, demonstrates, problem, actions, and result. I'm going to talk through all of them, but I'll start with the problem. So what I wrote here, I said problem, error on the customer invoice. So when an error on a customer's invoice in itself is not a problem if the customer doesn't notice, but an error on the customer invoice could make the customer angry. We could lose customer. The payment could be delayed because we have to rework the invoice, or we get the wrong payment. Maybe the customer is overpaid or underpaid, and all those hassle that comes with it. Those are the problems. So when you write the problem, write it to that level, because that is the problem. The fact that there's an error in itself is not a problem. If the customer doesn't notice and we don't notice, or maybe it's just an error, could be a misspelled name. Hey, we didn't kill anyone. That's fine, but you've got to go down to that sort of level. Even you could write the type of error, maybe miscalculation, wrong tax amount, whatever, but that's sort of when you write it to that level, you'd remember to use it at that level as well. And again, starting with a problem, starting with a situation, a scenario. This was the issue. We had a problem, or we had a need. So that's column D, problem. Then we go to action. So we have this need or this problem. What did I do? What was our role? So again, here, when you think about action, I think about, the team and myself. So you've got to show a balance between the team. So what the team did versus what I did. You've got to show a balance, because if you go, I did this and I did that, then you might come across as, a team player. But if you go, oh, the team did that and the team did that, then the question will be, what did you do? So you've got to balance that out, So, and what I think about the action as well is try and be chronological with it. So what did I do first versus what did I do next? So yeah, again, I said, well, analyze to find the root cause of the problem. We discovered that there was some improper configuration of the invoice. We reported that to my manager, and we fixed the issue and shared with the team. So you see, balanced it. I fixed it, but I shared with the team. So again, balancing that to say, I'm a team player. I'm proactive, but I'm a team player. I think that's the point. And you can write your own. I've just put this up quickly just to show some examples. And then we go to the result. Now in the result, you don't want to say, oh yeah, then the invoices were correct. So what? They should have been correct anyway. So what is the benefit to the customer? So again, in most business processes, and I'm a business person, so forgive me if all my examples come across, from a business perspective. That's what I do from day to day, right? So what is the value? What did we get? So again, when I think about result, think about measurements. So if our invoices became 100% accurate, we reduced, the time, we reduced our turnaround time by, 10%, 20%, whatever. The customer was happy, the customer feedback improved, our payment came in quicker. But you see, I've just thrown in some percentages there, and it's nice if you can get to that level of actually defining what the result was. So you remember what I said about the problem, just saying, oh, the invoice was wrong, now it's correct. It's not enough. You've got to kind of peel off some more layers and say the invoice was wrong, and this was the problem that was generated because the invoice was wrong, and now we fixed it, and these are the results that we've achieved from fixing it. Okay, now the most important thing here, talking about from an interview point of view, the most important column, I think, is column C. So it's something I've added. So I'm sure you've heard about the PAR. So PAR, problem, action, results. I think it's quite common. That's fine. But I've modified this and I've put column C, which is demonstrates. And what that helps me to do is, you see what I've done here. So in the first example we just looked at, I've said it demonstrates proactiveness. It demonstrates something that I dealt with a dissatisfied customer. It demonstrates problem solving. So now if I find myself in an interview and someone says, tell me an example where you solved the problem, I could use that example. If someone says, oh, tell me how you dealt with a dissatisfied customer, the same example goes. I mean, of course, if it's in the same interview, then you would need more examples. But you can see how this one scenario can answer 3 different questions. Tell me how you've been proactive. Again, that even talking about teamwork, I can use that as well. So if you look at the next row, is exactly the same thing. I had a problem with John. We were working on the same project and John didn't complete his part on time. Again, now going to the depth of the problem. He didn't complete his part on time, and because he wasn't completing his part on time, the project was being delayed. What did I do? I arranged a meeting with John to understand his situation. So that's me, my personable approach coming out. Like, I'm thinking about him. Are you okay? And then we went through a process of clarifying our responsibilities. Now we're looking at communication, and I haven't even put that there, but you could actually put that there as well in your demonstrates. Communication. So we clarified our responsibilities, and we agreed a pattern of review and communication. So again, that's communication, that's leadership actually. So you can use that example for leadership. Like, this project was going, all right, and I took control of it, and I dealt with the issue this way. Again, you see what I'm saying? You can use that one example, for more than one behavioral question. So what was the result? Our project was completed on time. My relationship with John improved. We actually became friends outside of work again. So I'm steering towards the whole personable approach, that sort of thing. So there are so much more. So you see, I've got all the X's because I think you should have much more, and you should have all the possible permutations. In under column C demonstrates, you should have all the possible permutations that you could possibly use that one row for. Just make sure in an interview that you're not repeating the same example. You've got to give a different scenario, and that's why we need to keep this updated, keep it fresh. As you go along in your career, you might find that some of your experience are not as relevant as for where you are right now. Feel free to take those off, merge it to something else. Anything that's repetitive, merge it, just so that ideally you want to have. I have about I think I probably have up to 15, possibly 20. I don't know. I can't see this quite far from here, but I've got up to 15, 20. So I've got a raft, I've got my arsenal. I've got a raft of them. So it doesn't matter where your question comes out from, I've got an answer for you, So I want you to, if you haven't done this already, do it. I'll put the template there, download a template or create yours. Just do it. Whether you're looking for a job right now or not, have it ready. It helps you immensely, and it helps especially when you've left a job, you've forgotten everything and all the issues you had and the problem with the customer. This sort of thing would help you. So I've called mine a work experience catalog. You can call it whatever you want, really. It's just the first name that came to my head. I'm not that creative, sorry. So yeah, that's it. I've got more on, so I'm doing a whole recording on interview series. I've got a series on interviews, especially from the interviewer's side. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. The videos are there or should be there shortly. Still recording. Thank you very much. Bye bye.